Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new video. This is an old 1988 Alco push mower, and it's got that older looking classic engine with the embossed Briggs and Stratton logo. I really like them, but apparently it doesn't work. The customer wants it to be running again. It doesn't have a collector, it is just going to be literally cut and drop, which is fair enough, that works. But yeah, the issue is it will not start. Very common issue with lawnmowers, and this is an auto choke system, so it could be that. We need to look at that. Could also be that it doesn't have spark, so we're just going to run through the normal procedure, fault finding, trying to find what the issue is. You've got to pinpoint that issue. There might be several issues, and to be honest I wouldn't be surprised if the auto choke has got something to do with it. But yeah, with it being older, ignition could well be the problem. So we'll just quickly check the oil, because if I'm going to attempt to start it, we need to make sure there's something in there. Ooh, tar. You could resurface a road with that. Just give that a quick wipe. Yeah, hopefully it won't be too much of an issue. At the end of the video, providing I get it running, we will mow some grass. I've not really been keeping on top of the mowing recently, so there's some longer grass to go. Well, not super long, but a bit longer than normal. Yep, so we've got just the right amount of tar in there, so we can attempt to run it. But I already know it won't start because I've already had a demonstration. There we go. So yeah, 1988. You can see the date code. It is the 17th of October, 88. Okay, so we'll have a quick look underneath, just do the usual checks, make sure the blade isn't about to fly off. We've got some fuel, I don't know how well you can see. Looks very clean, but it looks clear I should say, but very dirty. Lots of sediment. Yeah, I'd say fresh fuel has been put into a dirty tank. So that wants cleaning as well. So here we go, this is what it's doing currently. Nothing, and it doesn't have a primer, nothing like that. It's all auto choke, so it's supposed to apply the choke on its own, and then the choke should back off as the engine runs. But yeah, we might just not have any spark. We'll have to check the spark. That's the first discovery made. So the spring is going to the wrong place. Also, the throttle linkage, this cable, is in reverse. So start is actually stop and stop is start, which makes me think it's not original to this mower. So yeah, you've got to have it in the stop position to actually start the engine. If it will run, it was running on carb cleaner, but it won't start on its own. So there's definitely an issue with the carburetor. But yeah, for these auto choke systems to work, you've got to have that screw in. But it just will not run. It does have enough fuel in the tank, and the pickup tube is well underneath the petrol level, so it's got plenty of fuel in it. But it still wasn't running. But we'll find out what's wrong with it. Let's just get it all disassembled and cleaned up first of all. So it looks a little bit wet in there and a bit gritty as well. This is the vacuum chamber, and basically petrol has managed to get through from the tank, and it could be because of a number of reasons. So the first one is that the tank is not flat. These are machined precisely, so this is a machined surface, and you do not want that to be warped, because then the diaphragm can leak basically, and it will prevent the vacuum from working correctly. So that'll be the auto choke. So basically we need to check to make sure this is not warped. These are the two areas to check. This is a vacuum jet carburetor, so as far as I'm aware this one can't be fixed with a Teflon washer, but on the pulse jet ones you can add a Teflon washer, and that can help to compensate and can actually repair the warped tank issue. So anyway, we'll check to make sure that's not warped. It could just be that the diaphragm has had it, might just need to be replaced, or it could be a warped carburetor as well. So we're going to use a straight edge for this. I know it doesn't sound like a very technical term, a straight edge, but that's literally what it is. It's a straight edge, machined precisely. So what we don't want is for a 0.02 of an inch feeler gauge to be able to slide underneath the straight edge in our two test locations. So I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but hopefully you can see okay without me blocking the camera. And that is not sliding underneath. If that did slide underneath, then we would definitely have a warped tank, and that would not be good. We'll now check just here. Okay, that seems quite good. Yep, I can't get the feeler gauge underneath, so that's looking quite promising for the tank, which does leave the diaphragm, which we're going to have to remove once we've removed this cover here, because that is the choke link cover. And yeah, the carburetor, it is only made of plastic, so if it's been over tightened or something at some stage, it may well have warped. So yeah, we'll remove that choke link cover, we'll take that diaphragm off there, but we will be doing this anyway because I want to give it a thorough clean, and the only real way of giving them a thorough clean is to disassemble them. So that is the choke link, that will just unhook, and then we can remove it from there. So there is our diaphragm. And of course here is our carburetor. Just looking to see if I can see any visible warping. To be honest, it looks quite good. So I think it might just be the diaphragm itself. Yeah, you can see how grimy it is, so it needs a good clean. So I'm probably going to use just WD-40 and compressed air for this one, because I don't really want to cover it in really strong carb cleaner with it being all plastic. I don't want to damage it. So let's just first of all give it a good squirt through the pickup tube. So I've cleaned out in here, it's all looking a lot better. I've cleaned out inside the tank as well. It's all dirt free, and it doesn't seem to be warped in any way. Also the carburetor is all nice and clean. Did use a bit of carb spray on some more stubborn areas. Up this tube there's a little bit of gunk, but I pulled the tube off, got it out of there, and that sorted that out. So now we need to reassemble with a new diaphragm, and they're actually really expensive, extremely expensive, like £35 British pounds for just this one diaphragm, and it does come with the spring attached. So essentially what needs to happen here is we need to put this in, and then we need to put the screws in and tighten them like 1 or 2 turns, but then we need to do a bit of pre-loading on the choke. So yes, I'll get that done now. So I think the best way of doing this is actually to hold everything upside down. Then, well, it's actually more important for the pulsar jet ones with the little spring in the cap, but it'll probably be easier for the vacuum jet as well. So we'll go with that approach. So first of all, the little linkage needs to go up through here. So put a pickup tube through there. Make sure the spring is in the correct location. Turn it over, and then we can put the screws through. So making sure the choke is closed, we'll put the linkage into the shaft, and then we need to turn each screw 2 full turns. So with all the screws attached, it means that the carburetor body cannot move now on the tank, so we can fully open this choke, go all the way around, and tighten that down. So the way I'm going to tighten this is in a cross pattern. Just keep going diagonally, and eventually we are all tight. I've gone around everything several times in a crisscross pattern. Yep, they all feel tight, but of course we do not want to warp anything, so no, we don't want to make one excessively over tightened. And as you can see, when we open the choke, it automatically closes again. So it's very important that it is actually closing on its own. And then we have our mixture screw, which has also been all nicely cleaned and inspected. You can see the tip of it is not bent or worn, so that can go straight back into there. And just for an initial setup, I'm going to go fully in, so screw it in fully, and then we're going to back it out 1.5 turns. So from here we're going to go half, and then 1, and then 1.5, and that should be a good starting point. It might actually be perfect, but if nothing else, it's a good starting point. We can always adjust it when the engine is running. So yeah, this spring here is indeed attached to the incorrect place. They have stretched it a bit, which is not ideal. Yes, I actually did look, and I couldn't really find a supplier of this spring. I could find new old stock, but that would be from the USA. And that is indeed stretched. So I think what we'll do is we'll test it. I'll crimp it onto there, and then we'll test it. And if it all works fine, then that's great. But obviously, if we do have issues, then I'll have to put an order in to the United States to get another one. Okay, so that is all set up. Now I don't want to do any kind of oil change at this stage because I want to circulate the oil, mix it up, and then if it all does run fine, then we can give it a go, and then we can drain the oil out once it has all circulated and warmed up. So yeah, I think next step is to get the air filter on. I will put a new air filter in the box because that one is soaked in oil. Yeah, we'd have had a metal air filter box originally. Someone must have replaced it with a plastic one. And actually having oil on an air filter is very beneficial. It does trap the dirt, but when it is so saturated, that will actually choke the engine. It won't be able to breathe, and it'll just bog down and show very rich symptoms. So yeah, we'll put a new one into there right now. Just put a little bit of clean oil on here, and we'll massage that in. This is just to trap the dirt. And we'll get that put on. We'll put some fresh fuel into the fuel tank, and as I said, we'll give it a go. We'll see exactly what it does. I'm hoping to go and mow a bit of grass. We'll go and mow some grass, if it works. And then after that we can do a service. So we'll do the blade. I think it actually needs a new blade. So I think we'll put a new blade on and change the oil and the spark plug and anything else that it needs. Let's just hope for the best. And as I said, these auto chokes, these old auto chokes, they will not work without this screw in. That screw is essential. Considering what we had to work with there, I think we actually did pretty well, because this blade is quite blunt, and it's actually it's quite a strange blade because it looks like it's been sharpened on the wrong side, but that is actually how it was sharpened in the factory. So yeah, it's looking quite dull and worn. You can see how the edge is worn off here. So I'm going to fit a new one. Here we have the new one, and yeah, you can see how much more material there is here. Nice straight line instead of it being curved, and there is the edge on the underside. And you wouldn't want to put the blade on that way, because then it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't lift the grass. We've got these lifters. That's to lift the grass up and throw it into the bag. So yeah, they just decided to cut the edge on this side, but it doesn't actually make much of a difference at all. It's still super sharp. And the oil, as suspected, is very, very black and disgusting and just basically really, really used. So yeah, that's pretty dirty. But that was the whole reason for doing this first. It's mixed it up. No doubt we have some sludge from the sump in here as well, and that has been able to get out of there instead of just having fresh oil added on top of it, which is just counterproductive. Okay, yeah, so we'll put a new blade on. We'll put the fresh oil in. It doesn't really need a spark plug, but I guess I will put a spark plug in just to say it's got a new spark plug. Good for a service. And then I think really we'll give it a clean and give it another test. And there we have it. That actually worked really well. The new blade makes a big difference. So yeah, it would obviously work a lot better with a grass bag, but I don't have one and I haven't been tasked to source one, so that is done. It runs again. It's a very common issue, the diaphragm on these. Okay, we're going to leave it here. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.